at past. So we'll begin this morning in extended child's pose. Take the knees out nice and wide, big toes to touch, sink the hips towards the heels. I'm just going to finish this last drop of coffee. And then bringing the head and the chest towards the ground. If that's not comfortable for you today, just maybe sit onto your heels instead. Or just take a comfortable seat for a moment. So just closing down the eyes. Just taking a few moments to arrive on your mat. Transitioning from what you were doing before. Just letting go of everything else for the next 30 minutes. And taking this time for you. Just settling into your breath. Trying to find that equal parts breathing. In through the nose and out through the nose if you're able to. Just taking some nice full breaths. So take that breath right down into the belly. Feeling the rib cage expand, the back of the body, the sides of the body. With every exhale, everything contracts back towards the navel. Lovely. And then slowly starting to lift up, and we'll come to all fours. So we're just going to do a quick warm up before we start our flow today. So we're already opened into the hips a little in this child's pose, and we'll move through a few rounds of cat and cow to warm up through the spine. So as you're ready, inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, drawing that chest forward, squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. Exhale as you round in the opposite direction. Just moving with your own breath in between those two postures. Just add in any other little movements in if you feel like you'd like to. Maybe you bump in the hips side to side. Maybe you just pause in one position a little bit longer if it feels good. Lovely. And come back to a neutral position. Just walk the hands forward ever so slightly, just so we've got a bit of a wider base between our wrists and our knees. And we're going to start to make some circles with the hips. So just bumping them over towards one side, circling around and down towards the heels, over to the other side, and then coming forwards. So really making these circles as big or as small as feels right for your body. Maybe your wrists feel a little bit tender today and you don't come very far forwards. So just really noticing what's going on and adjusting as you need to. Next time you come forwards, we'll reverse those circles. Lovely. And just come back to a neutral position, tucking the toes under, and send the hips up and back, downward facing dog. And just use this as an opportunity to pedal out through the feet, stretch the backs of the legs, and again making any little movements that you'd like to. My mat always squeaks when I pedal out my feet. Lovely. And then make your way to the top of your mat into a forward fold. So however you choose to get there, maybe you jump, maybe it's a big step or baby steps. When you get there, just really allow the upper body to be heavy and hang. Maybe you take hold of opposite elbows with opposite hands and allow the body to sway. Remember to keep those knees bent as much as you need to. We're not really aiming to stretch out the hamstrings here. We want to just release some tension in the lower back, allowing the upper body to be soft. So maybe gently shaking out the head a little as well. And then when you're ready, very slowly start to roll your way up to stand. Just allow the arms to be heavy, head is heavy. Lovely. Give the shoulders a little bit of a circle one way and the other. Just going to tuck my top in. Lovely. So find yourself in a mountain pose. You're going to bring the hands onto the hips. Trying to think which side I need to do first so I'm not facing away from you. Yeah, that's it. So taking all of your weight into the left foot, just slowly start to peel up that right heel. And then lift the leg up. So really squeezing that knee up and in as far as you can. Maybe looking at something that isn't moving. Lovely. And then start to send that right leg all the way back. Step it out as far back as you can. And then bring the heel to the ground. Turn the torso to face the long edge of your mat. And then bring the feet parallel. So next time we do that, you'll be able to do it a little bit more smoothly because you know where we're headed. So we come from here and end up here. Keeping the hands on the hips, inhale. Exhale, hinging from the hips, folding forwards. So maybe this is far enough for you and you just bring the hands to the ground. Maybe you soften the upper body and fold more deeply. Remember, we'll be doing these postures more than once. So you don't need to go in at 100% each time. Just allow your body to softly open up. Lovely. And then slowly start to lift the chest if you would lower it down. Hands back to the hips. Slowly rising up. So with this ladder flow, we go back the same way that we came into the flow. So we repeat everything backwards. So from here, you're going to turn those left toes to face the top of the mat. And then seeing if you can step forwards with the knee lifted. So it is a little bit tricky, it takes a bit of practice. I find it easier if I sort of spin onto my back toes first and then try and step up. Squeezing that knee up high again. And step the foot back down. So every time we come back to the end of the sequence, you can just have a little shake out. Your legs might feel a little bit tight and tired. So yeah, just always taking a couple of breaths to have a little move around in a way that feels good. So we're going to repeat that on the other side. As you're ready, taking the weight into this right leg. And slowly peel the left heel up. And that might be enough for you today. Your balance might be really off, and that's fine. Otherwise, squeezing that knee up high. Just hold. And then see if you can step that foot all the way back with control. Bring the heel down. And then turn both feet parallel. So the toes are pointing towards the long edge of the mat. The edges of the feet are parallel with the short edge. Take a big inhale, hinging at the hips, folding forwards. And again, it's up to you how far you go down in this posture. And if you find that you suffer from like high or low blood pressure or dizziness of any kind, I'd advise you just to stay up on the hands so that the head is in line with the heart still. So you're not sort of losing that flow of blood to the head. That's usually what sends us dizzy. And start to lift the chest back up. So lifting up halfway if you haven't already. Hands back on the hips. And slowly come up. And I mean really slowly. You don't want to get that head rush and find yourself feeling dizzy. Right toes point towards the top of your mat now. And we're coming back to that. Standing on that right leg with the left knee lifted. So maybe pivoting that back heel first. So you're facing the top of the mat. And then whoop, lifting the knee. Lovely. And step that foot back down. Just taking a couple of breaths to have a little shake out if you need to. Actually, just going to blow this candle out in case I fall over and set the house alight. Lovely. So bringing the hands back to the hips. Taking the weight into the left foot. Slowly lifting that right leg. Squeeze it up and in. And then with control, stepping that foot all the way back. Pivot the heel down. Turn to face the long edge of your mat. So we're coming into our wide-legged forward fold. Feet parallel to the short edge of the mat. And then start to fold forwards, hinging at the hips. Again, just choose where you want to be. And lifting up halfway, bring the hands back to the hips. Lift the chest. Bring the heels in, toes out. So the feet are on diagonals. And then bending the knees. Bring the arms up, shoulder height, bend the elbows. Palms face forwards for goddess. So just make sure these knees are not rolling in. Keep them actively pressing open. And only squatting down as low as feels all right for you. Straighten everything up. Turn the feet parallel again. Hinging forwards again. Forward fold. Lift up halfway. Start to rise up. Turn the left toes to face the top of the mat. We're coming into that standing one-legged Tadasana. So as you're ready, lifting that right knee up and in. It's not easy. Maybe it is for you. And step the foot back down. Lovely. Have a quick shake out. We'll go to the other side. So taking the weight into the right leg, squeezing that left knee up and in. We will start to pick up the pace a little bit. So stepping that foot all the way down, pivot the heel, turn both feet parallel. Hinging at the hips to come into your forward fold, either up on the fingertips or folding deep. Inhale, lift up halfway, bring the hands to the hips. rise up. Bring the heels in, toes out. Bend the knees, arms out. Bend the elbows for goddess. Inhale, straighten up. Bring the hands back to the hips. Bring the feet parallel. And then hinging forwards again for forward fold. Lifting up halfway first, hands to the hips, rising up. Right toes face towards the top of your mat. Coming forwards, keep that left leg lifted if you can. Squeeze it up and in. And stepping it down. Lovely. Well done if you didn't fall over. I thought I was going to at one point. So we're adding on again. Taking the weight into the left foot. Squeeze that right knee up and in. And then with control, stepping the right foot all the way back. Turn to face the long edge of your mat. Feet are parallel. Inhale. And exhale, hinge from the hips to fold forwards. On your next inhale, lifting up halfway, bring the hands to the hips, lift the chest. Bring the heels in, toes out, bend the knees, and then bend the elbows, goddess. Inhale to straighten, hands back to the hips, turn the feet parallel, hinging forwards. Lift up halfway. Come all the way up. Turn the left toes towards the top of the mat. Keep both legs straight. Bump the hips towards the back of the mat. And reach that left arm forwards. Come over into triangle. Lifting back up. Turn the heels in, toes out. Coming into goddess. Lovely. And straightening the legs, hands to the hips, bring the feet parallel. Inhale, lift up nice and tall. Exhale, folding forwards. Inhale as you lift up halfway, bring the hands to the hips. Slowly lift the chest. Left toes go forwards and we're coming back to the top of our mat in that standing one-legged Tadasana. Whew. Very wobbly. And stepping the foot down. Have a little shake out. We'll do that on the other side. So as you're ready to, start to take the weight into that right leg. Squeeze the left in and up. Stepping that left foot all the way back. Turn towards the long edge of your mat. Feet parallel. Inhale. Exhale, hinging to fold forwards. Inhale, lifting up halfway. Bring the hands to the hips. And then rising all the way up. Bring the heels in, toes out. Bend the knees and bend the elbows for your goddess. Straighten the legs. Just turn that back foot in. Right toes go forwards. Bump the hips towards the back of your mat. Reaching forwards with that right arm. Coming over into your triangle. Keeping the chest nice and open. So try and avoid rolling down towards the ground. Just lifting up a little higher if you need to. Inhale, lifting back up. Bring the heels in, toes out. Bend the knees, bend the elbows for goddess. Inhale, straighten up, hands to the hips. Bring the feet parallel. And then exhale as you fold forwards. Maybe each time you come into these folds, you come a little bit deeper now that your body's opening up. Inhale to lift up halfway, hands to the hips, slowly rising up. Turn the right toes to face forwards, coming back to the top of the mat, squeezing that left knee in and up. Don't worry if you're not able to do it. Don't worry if you're wobbling, because I am too. And step that foot down. Lovely. Have a little shake out. And we'll move back to the left side, adding on again. So taking the weight into that left foot, squeezing that right knee in and up. And step the foot back. Turn towards the long edge of your mat, feet parallel. Inhale. Exhale, hinging forwards. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands come to the hips, and then rise up slowly. Heels come in, toes out. Bend the knees, bend the elbows, goddess. Inhale, straighten the legs, turn the left toes towards the top of the mat, bump the hips back, coming over into triangle. And then bend into that front knee, bring the left forearm onto the thigh, and take the right arm up and over. Really reach the fingertips away. So get this nice long line from the fingertips on the right hand, all the way to the outside edge of that right foot. Straightening the front leg, coming back to triangle. Nice open chest. And inhale, coming back up. Bring the heels in, toes out. Bend the knees and bend the elbows, goddess. Inhale, straighten the legs. Bring the feet parallel, hands to hips. Lift up nice and tall. On your exhale, hinge into fold forwards. Inhale, lifting up halfway, bringing the hands to the hips and slowly rising back up. Turn the left toes to face forwards, making our way back to the top of the mat, squeezing the right knee up and in. Don't worry if you need to put the foot down on the ground. And then step it back. Have a little shake out. Lovely. Move to the other side. So taking the weight into this right leg. Left leg comes up and in. Step it all the way back. Turn towards the long edge of your mat. Feet parallel. Inhale, lift up nice and tall. Exhale, hinging at the hips, fold forwards. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands come to the hips, rising up. Bring the heels in, toes out. Bend the elbows, bend the knees, squatting down low. Goddess pose. Inhale, straighten the legs. Turn the right toes to face forwards. Bump the hips back, reaching forwards, and then cartwheel the arms over for your triangle. Start to bend that front knee. Right forearm comes on top of the thigh. Left arm reaches up and over. Nice long diagonal. And straighten the front leg for triangle. Inhale, rising back up. Adjust the feet, heels in, toes out. Bend the elbows, bend the knees, goddess. Inhale, straighten up. Hands to the hips, feet come parallel. Find some length in the spine. And on your exhale, hinging forwards. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands to the hips, slowly rising up. Right toes point forwards. We're going to step towards the top of the mat, squeezing that left leg up and in. And plant that foot down. Have a little shake out. Lovely. We're just going to do one last flow. I think we've got time. So taking the weight into that left leg, squeezing the right leg up and in, and then stepping back. Feet come parallel. Inhale. Exhale, hinge to fold forwards. Inhale, lift up halfway. Hands come to the hips and slowly rising up. Bring the heels in, toes out. And as you exhale, sitting the hips low, bend the knees and the elbows. Inhale, straighten the legs, left toes go forwards. Bump the hips back and then cartwheel the arms over for your triangle. Bend that front knee. Left forearm comes on the left thigh. Right fingertips go up and over. And then turn the chest to face the ground. Frame that front foot. Wiggle onto the back toes. Keep the right hand down. Left arm opens out for a twist. Coming back through extended side angle. So pivot that back heel down. Left arm on top of the thigh. Right arm up and over. Straightening that front leg. Fingertips reach for the sky. Triangle. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Heels in, toes out. Exhale as you bend the knees and the elbows for goddess. Inhale, straighten the legs, bring the feet parallel, hands to the hips. Exhale, hinging to fold forwards. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands to hips, slowly rising up. Send the left toes forwards. Step towards the front of the mat, squeezing the right knee up and in. Stepping the foot down. Lovely. Moving straight to the other side. Lifting that left knee up and in. And then stepping all the way back. Turn to the long edge of your mat. Feet are parallel. Inhale. Exhale, hinging to fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands to hips. And then rising all the way up to stand. Bring the heels in, toes out. Exhale, sit it down. Goddess. Inhale, come to stand. Right toes go forwards, bump the hips back, coming over into triangle. Bend that front knee. Right forearm onto the right thigh, left fingertips reach up and over. And turn the chest down towards the ground, frame that front foot and just wiggle onto those back toes. Left hand stays down, right arm opens out for a twist. Coming back to extended side angle. So pivot that back heel down. Right forearm comes back on the thigh, left arm up and over. Start to straighten that front leg, the triangle. Left fingertips reach for the sky. And come all the way up to stand. Bring the heels in, toes out. Exhale as you sit into your goddess. Inhale, straighten the legs, hands to the hips, feet come parallel. Inhale and exhale to fold forwards. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands to the hips, slowly rise up. Right, toes go forwards and we'll step to the top of the mat, squeezing the left knee in and up. And stepping that foot down, have a little shake out. Okay, really well done. Whew. You can either stay standing or maybe prefer to take a seat and just close down the eyes for a moment. Just reconnect to your breath. Notice how you feel. Bring the hands together in front of the heart space. Gently bowing your head. And just thanking yourself for showing up for yourself, for your mind, for your body. And thank you for allowing me to guide you through this practice. Blinking the eyes open whenever you're ready. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know how you got on and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.